What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here from DataDash, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's sponsored review, I'm going to be spending some time to talk about one of my favorite layer one infrastructure plays in the crypto space that I genuinely believe has the ability, out of a few handful of projects, to actually upend the old legacy experience of Ethereum and other alternative EVM compatible L1 and L2 chains that are riddled with constant user experience and developer issues. But beyond that as well, I'm going to be talking today about Radix's biggest update to date, in my opinion, from a business development perspective, from liquidity provision, and an ability to onboard another whole wave of users we have yet to see entering into the Web3 space. Today, we're going to be talking particularly about Breakout 2024. Now, before we dive into all of this and how this could be one of the biggest years for Radix, as someone who's been covering the project since 2018, I really mean this. I think there's a lot coming this year, and I think it's going to be a year where we want to pay attention to Radix. I want to go ahead and give a brief primer. Some of you may be hearing about Radix for the first time. You might need a refresher if you've maybe heard about it before. But essentially, Radix DLT is aiming to build an entirely new experience. So whereas a lot of the traditional alternative L1 or L2 protocols like Polygon, Arbitrum, and Optimism, and Binance Smart Chain all focused on essentially taking what Ethereum did and doing it at a increased scale, or essentially trying to take traffic away from Ethereum and not really inventing the wheel. The thing about Radix is they started from square one. They've built a protocol since back in 2018 that's focused from feedback from core developers in the Ethereum ecosystem, fixing the frustrations they dealt with, the same user experience issues that have bottlenecked crypto adoption over the last couple of years, and built an entirely new protocol with its own asset-oriented language called Scripto, which allows you to streamline smart contract development and cut out the vast majority, if not all, potential exploits from smart contracts, making the experience much smoother and allowing for rapid and exciting new ideas to come to the forefront. And outside of that as well, they not only offer this really exciting developer experience, but beyond that, they focused a lot on the user experience, providing not only their own native wallet, but a wallet in which comes with the ability to integrate a whole range of technologies we either haven't seen in the crypto space or have been incredibly difficult to pull off before. Things, for example, like human-readable transactions. So if you're signing transactions on MetaMask and all these alternative Ethereum wallets, while they may be great at the end of the day, the problem is you don't know what you're signing. You get hexadecimal code. The user experience is so foreign to those who have never touched or interacted with crypto. And things like this, as well as the ability to have smart accounts, will actually allow for a whole new range of users who haven't come into the crypto space before to actually use it. Imagine instead of having to write a 12, 24-word seed phrase, you can just simply recover your account like you can with Facebook or your YouTube account with two-factor authentication natively built in to the wallet. These are the kind of things that have not been implemented on the Ethereum network or are very difficult to pull off on alternative L1 or L2 protocols. And these are just starting to scratch the surface. There's a whole range of things like meta transactions and a whole range of technologies that can streamline the process on Radix versus utilizing other L1s or L2s, allowing for new ideas and new concepts to come to the forefront and not having to worry about rough user experiences or potential hacks. Now, after all of this has been kind of considered here, right, it sounds exciting, but the big thing that I think is clear to talk about here, Radix launched Babylon, its mainnet upgrade, where all of these applications that have been built in testnet are now live. You can go use them today, so you don't have to take my word for it. You can bridge over and try it out. The big thing I want to talk about today, though, is the fundamental reality. You can have the greatest technology in the world, but if you don't do the right marketing, if you don't do the right business development, then you're not going to see that traction. What I like about Radix, though, is that while they understand this, they wanted to make sure that Babylon was out in the wild for a while. We've had a near year now where we've been able to see not only the applications start to foster in its ecosystem, but beyond just having the typical DeFi primitives that you can find in traditional L1 or L2 protocols like automated market makers or decentralized exchanges, as well as lending and borrowing protocols, I believe that Scripto is going to offer the ability to see applications the likes of which we haven't seen before. This is something that Pierce talked about in his presentation for Breakout 2024. He essentially hinted on the point here that with Scripto, as we've talked about a lot on this channel, that you have an ability to go out and build things that either were too risky to build in the Ethereum virtual machine because you had to worry about smart contract exploits, and getting continuous audits on new projects would just delay the progress of innovation. But beyond that as well, with these new user experience improvements and developer tools and resources, you're going to be able to build applications that tap seriously into the narratives that people are excited about. I'm talking about tokenization of real-world assets and essentially bridging a lot of the locked up liquidity in the traditional financial system that hasn't come into DeFi yet, that can't come into DeFi if we're going to use the same framework of Ethereum that constantly has hacks, can't see much innovation beyond what's been built. There hasn't been many major innovations in DeFi for the last 2 or 3 years, and I say that as a huge advocate. I think Radix is going to allow for that and take us from a $50 billion market of TVL or $100 billion market of crypto assets and stablecoins to hundreds of billions, if not over $1 trillion in increased value and total value locked in the DeFi ecosystem. I believe Radix is one of the few networks that can realistically make this happen, taking DeFi to the next chapter. Because in order to actually get that whole new wave of users with increasing dollar liquidity and also realizing some of the visions and narratives that people are really excited about, like real-world assets being tokenized, we need to be realistic that doing things the same way we did over the last near decade is not going to allow us to actually realize this. In order to do that, we need to have a network that is highly secure, much easier to use, and gives developers the framework to actually build what they want to build without having to worry about smart contract exploits, let alone their users worrying about it. Well, in order to do that, Radix needs to focus on boosting liquidity. And this is one of the big updates that comes with Breakout 2024. Project Ignition is the protocol's first built-in liquidity incentive program, aiming to bring in over $10 million in liquidity from some of the major currency pairs across the board. Currencies like wrapped BTC, USDC, and USDT. Essentially speaking, Project Ignition is going to allow you to bridge a whole range of assets through its native integrated solution, InstaBridge, where you'll be able to bridge liquidity over from Ethereum and other compatible ecosystems and be able to essentially get free XRD to pair in with your liquidity. So you're essentially providing liquidity on one side. And with this, you're getting paid incentives to do so, locking up your liquidity on the protocol. The important thing to understand is that Project Ignition goes live on March 14th. So it's just a few days away here. So you want to make sure that if you're interested in this, if you're a believer in Radix long term and you've got sizable liquidity and you're looking to allocate that towards a new emerging L1, XRD in this case is definitely a coin I've kept on my radar, and I think more importantly, Radix as a network might be a great place to get in on the ground floor before people really become aware of it. This is a great way where you can essentially support the broader ecosystem because you're not just supporting the trading of XRD on the Radix network, which is definitely really cool in the first place to be able to actually have a streamlined and low-cost way to trade XRD. But beyond that as well, this is going to allow for any alternative pairs that have XRD with it, giving users the ability to swap not just with XRD against these pairs, but also wrapped BTC, USDT through multiple different hops within different pools. So it's a bit difficult to explain if you don't trade on AMMs, but I think if any of you out there are looking to provide liquidity, you probably get what I'm saying. The idea here is that you can utilize InstaBridge. This is the native bridging tool that has been around for quite some time at Radix, allowing you to bridge not just over the tokenized version of Radix, EXRD, but also a whole range of different types of assets like wrapped BTC, USDT, USDC, and ETH. So if you bridge that liquidity over, you can participate within the incentive program, providing those key stablecoins or key currency pairs that a lot of people like to trade into, and will allow for a lot of different DeFi protocols to start to foster it within the ecosystem. Another alternative way you can participate in the liquidity incentive program is by utilizing a platform known as RocketX. RocketX allows you to essentially sell a native asset on its chain. So for example, selling Ethereum on the Ethereum blockchain for an alternative asset on another chain like XRD on the Radix network. By doing this, you can swap your native asset like Ethereum into XRD and utilize a variety of existing decentralized exchanges like OchiSwap, Caviar9, or DeFi Plaza in order to acquire XUSDC, XUSDT, or XWrapped Bitcoin, or wrapped XETH. So essentially by doing this, you purchase the liquidity you need in order to actually, provide liquidity to the market pair, and then exactly on those same decentralized exchanges, you're able to essentially provide liquidity and participate within the program. I definitely recommend, if you guys want to know the fine details and how to be able to be eligible to participate, check out the Project Ignition Radix blog link. I'll leave it linked down below in the description. And you simply scroll down here and check out the Project Ignition details document. This will tell you everything you need to know. And if you ever need additional assistance on participating in this, I'm sure you can reach out to their Telegram or Discord in order to get more information, which you can find on their website. So I definitely recommend you guys check out that. But beyond that as well, in this talk about providing liquidity in the crypto ecosystem, another boost that they're adding in order to continue propping more liquidity into the DeFi ecosystem of Radix is their partnership with KeyRock. Now, KeyRock is a massive market maker as well as over-the-counter or OTC facilitator for institutional capital in the crypto space. But beyond this, they've worked with major names in crypto, including Ripple, Six Fintech Ventures, and over 85 different trading venues in the crypto industry, with partnerships with names like Binance, Kraken, HTX, and Crypto.com, just to name a few. So in this case, bringing on KeyRock is a huge benefit to the broader Radix ecosystem, not only for its expertise, but also providing a $10 million line of liquidity. Plus, when you add in this and Project Ignition, I think we're finally going to get to a point here where the Radix ecosystem, which has been basically providing the framework to build out all these decentralized applications and really allow for new avenues and forefronts in the crypto space, to now finally realize that value. Because without that initial liquidity, it's really difficult for users to actually utilize the applications. So this is, again, another big boost here for Radix. And as we can see here, they've been working with KeyRock over the last few months to deliver on this vision. But above all, guys, I want to bring it back here to center and talk a little bit about what's to come here. I think that Radix has easily out there built one of the best tech stacks in the crypto space. It's why we've covered them so much over the past couple of years. And I think that if you're betting on something that's in the alternative space versus the traditional EVM compatible chains, I think Radix is one of those networks to watch for. Outside of that as well, when it comes to what's coming down the pipeline for Radix, with a lot of this new provided liquidity, I think you're going to see the dApp ecosystem of Radix really start to flourish. You're going to see increased trading volume, increased participation, and an easier experience within the protocol itself to actually realize value and opportunities within DeFi. I think it's a moment where Radix is really going to shine here. And while I don't want to get too metaphysical or way too beyond the scope of where Radix is right now, I'm always someone who likes to find those contrarian bets. And while everyone's got their focus right now on meme coins, they've got their focus on Ethereum as a network, and just traditional architecture within the crypto space, I haven't lost that passion for a large increase in DeFi volume and DeFi use cases. And I think Radix is the protocol that's going to make that happen. So simply put, don't sleep on it, because Breakout 2024 is all about signaling when. Well, that time is now. And it's going to be a really interesting chapter for Radix going forward, potentially one of the more exciting years, because we finally get to see all these applications in the wild with real deep liquidity. So I'm excited to see it. If you guys are interested in any of the things, whether you want to provide liquidity, you want to learn about Radix, maybe even build on Radix, check out the links down below in the description. The website has a ton of resources for any type of avenue you're looking to take, and the community would love you to be a part of it. Thanks so much again to Radix for sponsoring this video. We've loved working with Radix over the past couple of years, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, everyone.